Welcome to EFT Nation, your home for all things tapping. For show notes and resources, please visit EFTtappingtraining.com. We are your tapping hosts. I'm Alina Frank.
And I'm Craig Wiener. The information provided in this podcast is not a substitute for counseling or medical advice. The information presented here is meant to inspire and educate listeners, but are not guarantees of any kind.
Today we're here to discuss the strangest thing that we do.
The spooky world of EFT.
Yeah, so we're talking about surrogate tapping.
What? Surrogate tapping? What is that? It's like remote healing?
Yeah, it's remote healing. And it's surrogate in that you're stepping in, tapping as if you were someone else.
Okay. So in other words, my kid's having a hard time,
right,
and doesn't want to tap.
Right.
And so the possibility
Yep.
of this theory, of this hypothesis, is that I can tap on myself on his behalf so that he can gain potentially the benefits of my tapping on...
Oh, that's really confusing.
Yeah, wait a minute. So in other words, I'm tapping for another person.
Well,
Kind of, right?
But you are that person. You're
Hypothetically.
pretending to be that person.
Okay.
And how that works, I mean, are you stepping into the field where everything's connected? Or, I mean, who knows, right? Who really knows? There's just theory. There are just some theories.
But there's actually quite a bit of, in the quantum world research for long distance effects of when you start to look at quantum theory and how people are connected. When people are connected over distance, even over distance, effects have still happened physiologically, et cetera. So it's not that this is not without research. We just don't have any research within using this technique within EFT. There's no published clinical trials about this.
Right.
So let's say that from the very beginning.
Right. Yeah. But I think surrogate tapping is still a little different than remote healing because, like, if I'm doing remote healing, like, I'm sending healing over to my friend on the other side of the world.
All right. So explain how this is different.
This is, I am my friend on the other side of the world. I'm pretending to be.
You're acting as if.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And therefore tapping on yourself
Yes.
as if you are that other person.
Exactly.
Okay.
Or animal.
Right. Okay. All right. So we told you this was going to be a little strange.
Yeah.
Right. But many of you, this is not strange to at all. And some of you, it will be.
Right.
Yeah, depending on your belief system and your experience. Right.
Sure.
So first, is there any research? Are there any clinical trials? The answer is no. It would be great to see them, but there's not. So let's just say that from the very beginning.
Right.
So in your order of thinking of the importance of, if you're going to choose to do this,
Right.
like, would you tap on behalf of my husband is being really insensitive and being a jerk about something? I'm going to go ahead. He needs like some tapping, right? Is that the approach that you would take?
No, because
given that just actually about an hour ago, I actually did something insensitive and maybe wasn't feeling like I was up for tapping right then. So could you tap for me?
Well, here's the thing. And all of this, again, there's no research, so it's kind of anecdotal for those of us that have played around with this stuff. You're going to be most effective when you're not attached. Mm-hmm. And so because you did something snitty an hour ago, I probably have some anger, annoyance, frustration, sadness, fear, whatever it is that's coming up for me about what you did. So step one, if you choose to do this, is tap on yourself and how you feel.
Right.
Yes.
So tap on how you're reactive about it, or how you'd want a different outcome, or your attachment to, I hope he learns his lesson, or whatever it is that you really might have an attachment to hypothetically about that situation.
Right.
And that's the first place to always start, right? So that you can move toward neutrality about the situation.
And then there is, again, this is like all experimental. So how you do it is up to you. But the way I've done it is I've just tuned it, like when I've done it for my children, right? When they were growing up and they were not in the mood to tap on anything, and I would tap on myself and what I felt and what I needed and what my attachment to the outcome was. And then I would just be quiet and peaceful and tune into what they were feeling. So I could tune into what you're feeling, and I would tap on, even though I'm really freaking out because there's water under the sink and I can't figure out where it is. Maybe that would have come to me an hour ago, and I would have tapped as you, and I would have felt, when I got to a place of peaceful and calm and equilibrium, that would have been it, and who knows what the outcome would have been.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember once when I was going through my divorce years ago, and I was still in a lot of reactive feelings about it at the time, and I finally got to a place of wanting to tap on my ex's behalf.
Right.
Like I was in a place of not so attached to the outcome and just wanting to kind of like gift that.
Right.
And so I was able to step into
Yep.
what she might be feeling at that time as I tuned into that and tap on the emotions around that.
Sure.
Now, I never know what the benefit was in that
Right.
situation.
Right.
But other times we do. We actually
Yeah.
hear sometimes when we tap on another, in a class when we're teaching and we do this,
Sure.
and we tap on behalf of somebody's physical suffering,
Right.
etc.
Yeah, I mean, the most amazing things have happened. What we do in our workshops is like 10 days to 2 weeks after the workshop, we invite people to do EFT on have at least one session outside of the workshop where they've done EFT, a full session, come back, and we'll do like a post-workshop Zoom meeting with all the participants who want to be there, and we will do a surrogate tapping session with someone that I have recruited from our big Facebook group. So I say, hey, we're doing a surrogate tapping session. Who wants to step up? And I'm asking for somebody in physical pain. Mm-hmm. And then, the person will agree, and I'll be messaging them throughout the process. I'm just getting some basic information about the pain, and then they go off for an hour, and the group is surrogate tapping on their behalf, and then the volunteer comes back an hour later and messages me and tells me the results. And we've had some extraordinary, mind-blowing. The last time we did it was mind-blowing, where there were some specific details about the person we were tapping on or on behalf of
that we never could have known.
We could have never known it, and lo and behold, she confirmed something that was spooky, like crazy. We would have never been able to just guess at this information.
Do you know if it's any more powerful tapping surrogately as a group than as an individual?
No, I have no clue. But okay, let's step back. Mm-hmm. The first thing to do is to get permission. If that is how you feel about the ethics of this. So let's talk about the ethics of tapping.
Yeah, let's talk about permission.
Yeah.
That's an important consideration with this.
Right.
So there are different perspectives, aren't there?
Yes.
Right? So there are some, EFT is a cognitive, somatic, energetic healing modality, right? And there are other, for example, just energy healing modalities. And many of those, Reiki otherwise, might say you would never energetically send or work on behalf of another without asking their permission first.
Right. And then there are energy healing modalities like theta healing, which says you can tune into the person's higher self and get permission that way.
Mm-hmm. Kind of remote permission.
Right.
And other people, like
Gary
Gary Craig, who would say, look, we're all interconnected anyway. Do you ask every person in the world that you ever pray for?
Yes.
Right? If there's been a hurricane or there's been a famine or disaster and you're sending prayers, are you asking them permission to pray for them?
Right. So that's what he equated it to.
And he also, if I remember saying, is look, if we're all connected, I am him, so I'm tapping on myself, and everybody else is benefiting anyway when we're connected. And the question I'd also ask people is, do you ask their permission when you're energetically feeling malevolent towards somebody?
Right. If you're screaming at somebody and they're not in front of you.
Right. Like, did you ask their permission to feel that way and express that?
Exactly.
So anyway, so we're not going to give you an answer. We are
No.
bringing up the different kind of ethical questions around it, though.
Absolutely. I think the way that it's used most often is with animals, right? So our friend, the person that does the most work, surrogate work with animals using EFT is Suzanne Peach in Colorado. And a simple method that she, taught me years ago was to tap on the side of my hand and say, I'm Rover, I'm Rover, I'm Rover 3 times, right? The name of the animal that you want to work with. And then you just quiet and tune in, and what do you think is going on for that animal? And tap on, even though I'm feeling sad because my owner, because my mom leaves me all day by myself.
And it might be something like an emotion.
Yep.
It might be a physical sensation.
Sure.
It might be an image.
Right.
That really makes sense or doesn't make sense to you.
Right.
That they're picturing, because a lot of this happens through imagery also. So I want to say, almost the stranger the image or feeling, or the more surprising, like, why am I thinking that? Trust that.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? The ones that make sense is like, well, of course she's missing me. I'm gone all the time.
Exactly.
It's not saying it's not valid, but often that kind of information that's a little bit metaphorical, nonsensical, not exactly linear, is something to just pay attention to, even if you don't know why.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So people have reported that the easiest way to just experiment with this is a crying baby on a plane.
Been there, done that.
Yeah. So a baby's crying on the plane. If you're annoyed, I guarantee you're not going to be as annoyed or sad or afraid or freaked out as the parent of that child. So you're not attached. And we say that, it feels like the less attached you are to the outcome, the more effective you're going to be. So if you are annoyed, then you're tapping a little bit or mentally tapping or stealth tapping. On your
own annoyance,
on your own
because you want to
annoyance,
sleep or something.
absolutely.
So to get rid of that, so you can be as neutral as possible.
Yeah, yep. And then you just imagine what they're going through and imagine tapping on that and see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that Craig has full permission to do surrogate tapping on me whenever he wants. That, like, I've given him permission to do that. What happened? How I found out that he's really effective tapping as me, right? We're connected, and so those people, it could go either way. You're really connected and you're attached to the outcome, or you're really connected and you are tuned into what the person is really feeling. And a few years ago, I was really sick in the middle of the night, and I to expect me to tap when I was in that weird delirium was kind of impossible. So he just started tapping, and I could, feel like that him next to me in the bed in the middle of the night, kind of tapping on himself. And I figured that's what it was. And lo and behold, I fell asleep. I stopped coughing. I stopped, feeling really ill, and I was able to go back to sleep. And then recently we were hiking, and who knows what it was, but all of a sudden it was the elevation. It was kind of smoky. It was Eastern Washington. And I got to a point where we were near the top of the mountain, and I could not look up. It made me nauseous. I couldn't look down. It made me nauseous. And to look kind of straight ahead walk made me dizzy. So I'd actually sit down. And I wasn't feeling better. And then I was kind of worried about how the hell am I going to get off this mountain? And he just asked me, "What are you feeling?" And I think I said something like, "I can't do anything," or something like that. Like, I can't move forward. I can't look around. I'm just kind of stuck or something. And he just sat there and he tapped on himself as me. And I started sneezing, and I had 10 sneezes in a row. And then a couple minutes later, I was up and walking down. So, yeah, it was trippy.
There's lots of different ways. Another way that people, especially with children, because we're talking about children, use a form of surrogate was with, remember, Tappy Bear.
Yeah, right.
Right? So, in other words, where a smaller child, depending on developmental maturity, etc., but usually somewhere between 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-ish, something like that.
Yep.
That has a harder time perhaps vocalizing an emotional awareness about what they're feeling, etc. So it's not, even though I feel this upset, I deeply and completely accept
Yeah, that's not
myself,
gonna
right? It's
work.
not going to cut.
No.
So what was created, or many people have created their own, is a stuffed animal with buttons or sewed in spots, patches, where the different tapping points are.
Right.
And so having the child tap on Tappy
the
Bear,
animal, right? On the
right?
stuffed
Saying,
animal.
and Boo Boo had a really bad day today, right? What's going on? Boo Boo's friend took his toy.
Yeah, I heard Boo Boo had a bad day at school.
Mm-hmm.
So just a little information that you know about what the child is going through, you can ask, what do you think the bear is going through?
Yeah.
And the child taps on the bear to help the bear, and lo and behold, he's really helping himself. So
Right.
that's really cool.
Yep. That's actually a great way to use it. So, the most interesting thing that we just get is stories how people have just creatively used this in different ways. And
Yeah.
and somebody asked recently, is like, do you call them right afterwards and see if they're feeling better? And I would suggest that, you could.
You could. I
You
mean,
absolutely could.
Sure, especially if you've asked permission and they
Right.
know you're doing it.
Yep.
Why not?
Yep. Because sometimes it's actually also fun just to tap on behalf of somebody, and if you're around them frequently, and then just notice, did their mood or did what happened seem to have shifted for them,
Sure.
etc. Really, really evoking your non-attachment to an outcome.
Of course.
Because the truth is anytime we want to take away somebody's suffering,
Mm-hmm.
we actually don't know if that is in their greatest and highest good.
Sure.
Because sometimes we need to be with what we're feeling and not just have somebody take it away.
Right.
Right. So that's
Right.
actually kind of my intention always with surrogate tapping,
Right.
is that whatever the results here is in their greatest and highest good, even though I consciously may have no idea what that is.
Yeah. Yeah, I earlier this year I got a sort of, I was in a dream state when I got a message that I needed to start doing remote healing for women having infertility issues. And I was like, what form is it going to take? I'm not sure. What does that mean? And then so throughout the months, I got more and more information. And the information that I got was that I'm not to charge for this at all. And that these women would find me. So I just kind of put it out to my network. I think we put it on the newsletter, put it on a Facebook group. And so I've had a number of women just contact me. I haven't even talked to them on the phone. It's all been email, giving me a little information, and started about 2 months ago. Anyway, my first woman emailed me that she's pregnant.
That's great.
Yeah, I'm so excited. So whether it worked or not, whether it's placebo or not, it's like it doesn't matter.
No, because
Really
there's no attachment
doesn't.
to the outcome. It's just a
Yeah.
gift of service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so I
So
hope we've given you some
yeah.
food for thought here.
And look forward to hearing your stories. Please let us know
Absolutely.
any ways that it's worked for you, or that you've tried it and been pleasantly surprised. We'd love to hear.
Oh, and another form of surrogate tapping
Yeah.
is in the matrix. Like, ooh, we do that all the time.
So, okay. Well, now you open
Yeah.
that door, literally.
I think we need to do a whole show
Thing
on
on-
Matrix. Let's just
okay.
do a whole show
Okay.
on Matrix.
All right. So you're going to have to stay tuned for surrogate tapping in the Matrix.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us today at EFT Nation. And remember that you can find show notes and previous episodes at EFTtappingtraining.com.
All right. We'll open that door and just be a little tease.